That looks like we've started. Right, hopefully we're managing to actually get some streaming going this time. Just spent about 5 minutes without it switched on. Again, we're at Barton, just playing around. I'm just trying to get the best I can. Mainly on these grass textures where as soon as they're about, I know, just past that bit of string, everything seems to go a bit mushy online and not quite what it should be. So I've been experimenting around with a few settings. And I thought, while I'm experimenting, I might as well fly, and I might as well open it up, and if anyone's around, say hi. They can let me know what they're seeing at their end, rather than me waiting to watch it back on a video afterwards. Barton looks particularly very clean today. Looks like they've mowed the grass really well. Have a look around at the cafe. They did a good job here, Orbix. I thought really good what they'd done. Nice Robinson sitting there on one of the pads next to the refueling station. One of the ugliest helicopters ever made, as from my opinion. Hate them, don't know why. Don't like flying them, don't like seeing them. The way the helicopter hangs underneath the boom underneath it, I don't know what it is. So the reason why I like the Cabri so much is that the rotor disc, it actually appears to join the helicopter at the right place rather than anything else. Let's get down with some low hovering, and then that'll give me an idea on how well the encoder's working on the grass textures. And I say, what I noticed on some of the previous videos, just where the bit of string is flapping around, at slow speed, not too bad, but then as we pick up speed, it was going really mushy looking, didn't look very good. So I'm hoping the improvements I've done will pay off. Let's also go and have a look at the yellow field. Do love this Cabri, it's a great, the one I'm using most at the moment is still the Cabri. I've got the Mini 500 I'm playing around with, but I just come off after flying that for about an hour or so, and I feel like I need a rest. It's a fantastic mini helicopter, but the Cabri just flies beautifully, and this is with one person payload in. And it does actually behave slightly better if you up the payload and you end up with two people in the cabin. It sort of actually behaves even slightly better. So looks like they've got a nice macros over there. And all bits are getting in more and more detail in this scenery. I don't know what it says on the top side. Take a fresh look at macro, why not? So it's a square building with a car park. They probably sell everything. I don't know this part of the world at all, so I did intend taking a ride down the canal into what I think is Manchester and where like the TV centre is. So if we fly over here, head down I'm going to call it the Manchester Canal. I hope people will forgive me if I'm giving things the wrong name. It's not an area that I know. Get some real speed on. See how well she does. I was saying to a chap yesterday that I have to apply about 5 clicks of left trim when I'm flying this at very fast speed, and then when I go back into the hover I have to put right trim back on. I'm unable to hold the position, unfortunately. Oh look, there's a bridge, so we might as well go underneath that. Or probably took the disc off then. This is the famous ski centre we had a look at yesterday, just briefly. A bit of a kick there on the towel. Nice little golf course. And some huge shopping centre by the look of it, which doesn't look like it's touching the ground. Still the one big thing that annoys me with the Orbix stuff. Why on earth aren't the buildings touching the ground? The rest of it is so good. And then you have a look at something like this. Have a look over here. Hope the volume's okay. I've just suddenly realised I've got quite loud actually in the office here. I mean, look at that. Turn this down. I do apologise if it's been a bit loud. I mean, that is... While I was adjusting the volume, I just burst into flame. But, well, you could see how high that building was. That was ridiculous. Get into a nice position for you lot. And head that way again without crashing this time. You always know with a Cabri, you're just overdoing it slightly when you hear that thump of the blades. You want to drop just back a little bit on the collective, and or get the nose down a bit faster. So there's the ski centre and the shopping centre, which, as I pointed out earlier, the shopping centre, this part looks pretty good. That shopping centre on the right hand side looks like it's about 50 or 100 foot up in the air to me. I know it's on a hill, I can see that, but this side of it I can see underneath, and certainly this side of it. Just disappointing. I know they're going to get it right. I know they're working on all these things and there's a lot to do. And it's nowhere as simple as the way I'm describing it. But as a heli pilot, obviously, when we fly low down, we see these things. As an aeroplane pilot, you're up in the air, probably wouldn't even notice. I bet if we took a climb up now, spun round, you know, I still see it a bit, but you know, it's still a work in progress. The detail out the outside the car park's fantastic. Really well done. They've probably just not got enough guys to, or enough hours in the day to do it. I noticed also all the football fields and playing fields are getting better textures as well. Let's go back towards the canal. Would I suggest that this is the Mersey Canal as a part of this thing, showing my lack of knowledge and the fact I'm not running a map. I'm going to turn right, and I in memory remember that something like the ITV film studios or something like that's at the end of it, or in the fancy part of town, as it were. So, a great view. They've done a really good job. Look at this. Fly around in a little helicopter like this. Wonderful. I also purchased Flying Side, as it's called, and was trying that again today, which is fantastic in VR. They really got a fantastic frame rate, but the helicopter modelling and the buildings and everything else, they got a way to go, unfortunately. Good luck on them, and I hope they manage to do it. But at the moment, certainly X-Plane, Orbix and the other people that are doing the software, people like V-Sky Labs and all those, coming together not only just on this platform but on Prepare and everything else. Finally, it's really starting to look pretty damn good. I managed to get my hand off the Collective. I can fly two-handed. Bit shaky today. And as I was saying earlier, Sin, I'm nattering away to myself. One of the things I've discovered is that YouTube seems to have something where you can set a premiere up. And that's what happened last night. I'd actually managed to set 2 premieres up that I was going to go and premiere my video at. And I then went and actually did my video in the usual manner manually. So the sort of notifications were sent out and I wasn't there. I was flying somewhere else, nattering to a chap for about half an hour on my own, and I've got to get my head around all this side of it. It's just so different compared to the iRacing stuff I used to do before, where everything was pretty much set up for you. You just joined in, logged in, and it was all there. But this would be a good test of graphics quality. We've got a good variation here. Buildings, grass, texture. As I say, Manchester, somewhere I've not been. I wonder if it was quite as open as it looks here, or if it's even more congested. I would imagine it would be. Some of the finer detail yet to be put in. Oh, and there's, I think, the TV centre. Let me do a quick turn around here. Just remembered something about the Doc Studios. Well, it doesn't say who. Oh, does it? Yeah, media, somebody or other. Maybe they're not allowed to use the real names, I'm not sure. But I knew it was somewhere around this area. I'm sure some of the early TV programs were based around this sort of dock area here. That I remember anyway. Mind you, look. Another one that doesn't touch the ground. Not right across. I'd love somebody to come on and just explain that, you know, the mesh that is supplied or people are creating. You would have thought that the people that, say like Orbix, created their own mesh for the UK, and that whatever buildings they had would sit on that mesh perfectly, where a number of these buildings just seem to be plonked down at a random height in groups, maybe, and then they're going to be refined going into each one and placing it better. Now I wonder if this is Man United's football ground. Again, it seems to be rising and floating in the middle because there's a bit of a bump in the ground there, and you can see the buildings sitting on the highest point. Could have been a big enough car park. Does it actually say Man United, or? No, but it's a big old stadium. So Man United, or I'm going to say Manchester City. Not being a football fan, I'm probably having a load of people putting me right. But a good looking stadium, not sitting correctly. Once it's sitting correctly, that'd be great. Looks like I'm going to spend the evening talking to myself tonight anyway, so yeah, not quite even sitting with the pitch, look. I've heard of bumpy pitches, but that's going to be a few. Let's go down and have a look. So it looks like the mesh that was there, which the grass has followed, really quite sharp, and look at the angles there. I'm going to land and have a look from outside. I'll have to lose the chat window. Yeah, so you can see the gaps all the way round, but something an airplane pilot just isn't going to see, and it's going to look great from above where we're flying around so low. We can watch the trains go by and vanish. Let's have a go at flying from outside. I haven't done this for a couple of days. Too much. Did a bit yesterday. Just shows someone how easy these Cadburys were hovering wise, and the fact that you can't actually hit anything in X-plane makes life very easy. So the payload weight there gives me 2 passengers. Oh, yeah. If you drop the payload weight, I think below something like 150 or something, you end up with 1 passenger, 2 passengers that way. I was just trying to see if the you can see the hand is animated there, and the cockpit is. When he was sitting on his own, and I did the video the other day, the feet were animated and that as well. When there's two people in there, it didn't look like both were animated. And when we jump back inside, I don't think you see our friend. No, seats are empty. Let's have open. Window there open. Doesn't look like we've got any people watching this evening anyway, but they've all got much better things to do than I have. And the AVI tab's not upgrading very well there, even when the map's zoomed out. Let's just shut that way a minute. As it opens with default. So maybe using up the broadband width for something is causing a few problems that the map's not being downloaded. Still, not to worry. Look at that. We've seen we've got a bit of height up in that, realising. Good view. Just how far flight simulators have come is fantastic, isn't it? See the ski centre over there, so I know where we've got to head back to. Pull up the chat window just in case somebody said hello. Some of the cars do look a bit funny the way they whiz round, little ants running about round down there. A bit of collective on. Let's go into Bart and do an auto and maybe getting the old 424 and getting a bigger helicopter and have a fly around to see. Too much collective there, as you can hear. Pull the nose up, bit of rapid height. So Barton must be over that way, because that's the way we came in and flew under the bridge. There it is, I see it in the distance. Past that football stadium. Maybe that's Manchester City and the other one's Man United. Who knows? Get some height up. Then I've got the cab reset for a fuel cut off for autos, so let's see if we can get one going on here. Can't believe we're only not even 1,000 feet. I thought we were much higher than that. Let's get some reasonable amount of forward speed. Let's reset the helicopter. By mistake. Press the wrong button. Can you believe it? See if I can still get an auto in. Press the reset button instead of the auto button. So just gonna manage to stretch this out. Won't stop it, keep it sliding. Oh, a bit of a bounce. Now, Was I lying to everyone about? That switch isn't working, that's why. That's the reset switch. I do have a backup switch for autos. Let's see if that one's working. Yeah, that one is. That's the one on my joystick. The one on my collective I was just pressing madly obviously wasn't correct. Let's have a go and get 412 out. Or 424 I should say. Is the mini 429 407 where Cabri. No, it's funny, it doesn't seem to be showing. The 407 407 206. There's the AB, the usual one. And my favourite ones vanished for some reason. Where on earth is that gone? 429. Yeah. Don't know where I'd got the word 424 from. That's what was confusing me. Now, if you don't own this one already, it's a great helicopter. Met the guy on Line Tom the other evening. That Nat took 2 years to do. It's a bit of freeware, and it's been upgraded and upgraded, and start new flight. And it's a pleasure to fly. But you know, it's one of those helicopters when you look at from outside flying, especially in the blue and white colours. It's just everything you expect that a helicopter should look like. You watch it flying low over the trees, and you've got the heat plume coming out the back and everything else. There's an irritating voice that keeps telling you you're at 100 feet, which I'm sure you can switch off. I've never done it, but that certainly can. But while we're waiting for that to load, here we are. I mean, you have a look at the outside here. I mean, she's absolutely beautiful, that helicopter. The detail in that is fantastic, and in those colours just looks great. The only thing I always find with this helicopter is we take off or try and take off from outside, and I'll probably crash this, is the position that it sits at when it hovers. It's got a fair bit of nose on there, so it's going forward. I must have been flying that forward speed. Slow it down a bit. Get it into a hover. Turn it around, fly back the way we came. Don't know why, I still enjoy flying these helicopters from outside and follow this sort of view. And that just looks beautiful, doesn't it? Let's spin round. Now I've actually got all my hands off the controls there. I'm just trimming it out with the trim. My feet are still keeping the rudder where it is. But I wanted to get it stationary. I've got no wind on or anything, and it sits nose up, this one. And obviously sits slightly sideways depending on the speed forward. If you think of this as a project though, the amount of time and labour spent in making this look, apart from how good the inside looks, it's just the outside is so pretty, well, so beautiful. Very pretty helicopter. Flies lovely. A lot of people might be frightened of it thinking it's not a good beginner's helicopter, but it's very stable, it's very good from that point of view. You know, and if you want it to go, it flies like a rocket as well, so put the nose down and give it some speed. Drop the camera angle down while I'm trying to fly as well. I probably will have to get in there in a minute and have a look, see where we're going. Above the trees there. It just looks fantastic. It's a great heli. Love it. Beautiful to fly. And if you love the instrumentation and navigation, a lot of the stuff I don't enjoy, this helicopter's full of it. It's got everything inside. Let's jump inside now. When you look at the dash in there, I'll pull back. Then I'll click. And we have a look around in there. It's just fantastic. Depending which livery you have, depends how the heli's laid out as well. This is a medical version. I haven't got my X camera set up on this. Get the joystick about the centre of the telly, which is the way I normally do it. Let's drop this one down. In fact, I wonder with this one, there's a couple of switches up there from memory last time I did it. Turn the engine off as well. When I spoke to him online the other day, he said, oh, just manually set the throttle to idle, but I don't have a twist grip throttle. I'm trying to build one on the end of my button box, a twist one that I'll be able to use with my thumb, because I'm not able to twist my wrist in the usual way. I seem to remember that let's not worry about where we're going to land. One of these up here switches the engine off. There we go. Let's drop the collective. Warning, fuel valve toggle. Well, I reckon that did it. There's enough alarms going off in the background. Let's have a look. Keep the nose forward. Might be over revving slightly there. That might be that noise. I'll let you know when I get to the bottom, because if there's plenty left at the bottom, I'll be a happy bunny. I haven't done this on this one for a while. And we're coming in, probably a bit too fast, so we get a nice flare on in a minute. Plenty of right pedal there. Bring the nose up. It's going to slow us down. Also kill off some of the speed and the RPM. Now I wonder if we can have a nice gentle approach where I've used it all.
100.
Oh, I'd used it all. I thought I had it. It was a rubbish auto. I rushed into it. I shouldn't have done that. Well, that's enough for tonight's flying around. I know it was mainly on my own by the look of it. I don't think anyone appeared in chat. But it's a test at the moment, mainly to do with this OBS stuff, this screen here and the settings. I don't know if you'll see this, but when you go into settings and the stream keys here, you get your stream key from UPS, YouTube and everything else, and they suddenly appeared with their own setup the other day I'd not seen before. And then you've got your other settings here, which the bit rate is to do with your how fast it uploads. So down here, this green window saying I'm okay, I'm uploading 559, 586 there, not too bad. I'm on a Virgin Fiber thing. I get about 150, 200 down and about 10 meg up. And I've been playing around with this setting and this setting here, and I'm going to do a bit more reading because it certainly seems to do it. Also, the encoder here, you do have the chance of changing it, and I've kept it X2264, but they've given us two other encoders to use, and I tried both earlier today and they were both worse on the setup I was running. So I've gone back to the old setup and I'll have a look at this video. Sorry no one joined in and had a conversation, but I think we need a bit more setting up and that than me just coming online and trying things out, as it were. So if you watch this afterwards, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'm gonna use the OBS software here. You can do, see there, if I hit that screen there, left hand screen, you can make turn over to the right hand screen by fade, so that would be me switching off. I could have a switch off screen, so if I do that, press that, that's me vanishing and that to the world, as it were, and you would have a goodbye screen on there. So I'm not sure you saw that, but that's how I did it. And I'll stop streaming and say goodbye. Have a good week.